right? Now
Yeah.
but what you're bringing up though, because you're talking about sensitive areas literally of our body, like physically, that are
Sure.
hard for us to get over and allow. The major word in there is trust. You have to have a lot of trust in your physician to do that. So where that
Mhm.
now takes me, and I'm thinking about Quest when he was talking about this Black physician who's like, hey, I know you got this advice, but here's some other advice to share with you. The idea of having a Black doctor or a core of Black
Mm.
physicians on your team, where do you
Mm.
stand with that? Is that a must have? Is it, if it's there, I do it? Is it, I really don't care? What would you say? Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the 4050 Social Club. We're a virtual forum that focuses on Black men and on helpful and healthy ways for us to transition successfully from our 40s into our 50s and beyond. We aim to do this by presenting about a wide variety of topics, from health, wealth, and spirituality, to relationships, to our professional lives and continuing aspirations, to quite simply and honestly just being a great human. As I've shared on several occasions, I wish there had been platforms like 4050 around when I was approaching and beginning to evolve into and through this particular life period. So we hope that you'll engage with us on this podcast as we add to the growing movement to support and to honor Black men. Jamin, our eagle-eyed visionary, Quest, our resident helper, and myself, CJ the Seeker, are excited to be here with you today for another injection of the 4050 Social Club. Let's get it.
I'll say my thoughts, because I've had multiple things. So like, I think if you have a network of Black doctors that you can talk to and navigate and learn, I would have definitely explored those, but I won't let that be the reason why I don't go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I think like when I lived in Atlanta, there's Black doctors all over the place. So it's like, it's easy to find a Black doctor. You know, I'm here in Chicago, not so much. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let that stop me. But at the same time, I haven't done exhaustive research to find me a Black male doctor. I think it's more important now for me to do that research. My mental health doctor or my therapist is a Black man. You know what I mean? So I think that was important for me to be like, I got to get to some of these things that I probably can't really talk to with a white therapist. What are you going to tell me about my culture and my lineage and certain things that maybe he could, but I don't even want to question it. So I just chose to leapfrog to that versus Northwestern is a amazing medical program here and all that.
Yeah.
You know, it was deep. So I'm like, well, I could find me a good doctor.
Gotcha.
You know, but I don't know if I can definitely find me a Black good doctor.
Interesting.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. Quest, how about you?
Yeah. So 75% of my doctors are Black.
Wow. Wow.
And on purpose. I think once I started this journey, so I say 75% because the other 25 is my primary physician, and she is a 47-year-old Asian woman. And she, you know, I vetted her. I vetted her like I vetted my Black doctors, right?
Nice.
You know, and made sure that I understood what I needed and made sure that they understood that what they needed. I actually interviewed my primary physician before I got with her so that she understood that this wasn't to come in for 5 minutes and you out and, you know, you try it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
you know
That's
what I'm
real.
saying? I had to really, really make sure that she was focused on her life. And I want everybody to understand that. Like, you need a doctor that is focused on their life too. Like, they take
Tell us what you
their
mean by
life.
that, though. Yeah, tell us
So
what you mean. Why is that
I
important?
ask my doctors, are they focused on their health? Are they focused on their life? Are they practicing what they're preaching? Because when it comes down to it, I don't want you to be telling me what I should be doing. And in a lot of ways, not only are you not doing it, but you're advocating against it in some other space. I don't want that to
Wow.
be the situation.
Yeah.
I want it to be a situation where I understand that you are creating in some ways a healthy and proactive, preventable life for yourself as much as possible, because that's going to keep you here with me too. Like,
That's
it's
real.
not even so much of me being selfish about it, but it is me being selfish about it when it comes to me understanding I'm going to do everything that I need to do for my health. And I hope that you're around for this journey as well. Let's grow together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a great point. And there's another piece I'm gonna piggyback off of this too, because I think it's important for me because it made me think about why don't I have a black male doctor in my life right now? Accessibility is important too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
man.
what I mean by that is I don't want to have to wait months and months and months and months to be able to get on your list and then figure out when I need to see you. Like I think it's finding that delicate balance too. Like it's great to have a black male doctor, but if you can't never see the dude,
Yeah,
how is
it's
that gonna
tough.
help me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
So
a
I think like you said,
That's a
you have
really
to
good point.
evaluate and assess what's gonna work best for your flow, your bank account, what's gonna work best for your schedule and things like that too. Like, so don't just think it's just a one size fits all. It's not.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You were just talking about that accessibility thing, and I don't know statistically speaking, because this is one of the things I was looking up just to see what it was. Like the percentage of black doctors in the United States is a shade under 6%, and
Mhm.
of that, for black males, it's like 2.5%. You
Yeah.
know, so trying to find. You're right, because we have. When I look at my team of doctors right now, I don't happen to have anyone who's black on that team right now. And it's not, I'm not anti, obviously, but I know we've tried to a degree out here to find. So, for example, like a dermatologist, there's a woman that was recommended to my wife to go see. And it took months for her to get in there and see that person. You know what I mean? And I get it.
Yeah.
There just aren't that many. And so the handful that you find, if everybody's thinking the same
Everybody's
thing,
going
it's
to
like, man,
him.
do I wait 2 months to go do this? Or I got something going on right now. I got to go see somebody. So
Yeah.
even though I will say this, even though I don't happen to have a black doctor at all on my team right now, everybody on my team has been recommended by a black man that I know and that I trust.
There it
Right.
is.
So at least, even
That's
though
what's up.
it's not me just going out, it's been vetted already, but been vetted by somebody I trust who happens to be a black man. And then I guess I would also say too, for me, there's also the idea of like Western medicine versus non. And
Mhm.
not that I am anti-Western medicine, but I am open to medicines that come from the continent, medicines that
Yep.
come from the
Mhm.
East, and
Yeah.
different ways of going
Yep.
about that, right? So I've had people of all backgrounds and ethnicities as a part of it. People who are international have been a part of that for me too, and that all kind of balances it out for me with the Western med. But I know that for me, Western med is probably like lowest on the pole for me when it comes to the things that I care most
Mhm.
about with my medicine. But I also, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I'm sick. I need something right now. I may
Yeah.
try to fight it with some natural things, but at a certain point, I'm like, all right, I just got to get it together and I'm going to knock
Yeah.
this thing out with this
Yeah.
Western medicine. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to go back to a couple of things, we're looking at statistics and things of that nature. And when it comes down to it, we have 20% of black adults ages 18 and older in fair to poor health right now in the United States. 20%. That is
wow.
outrageous. That number is
Wow.
outrageous. That number is outrageous. It's
Well, especially
wild.
considering you went down as low as 18. Like maybe
Yes.
I can understand if you're talking
Yes.
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
and up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
18?
Yeah. That's
Yes.
Age
1 in 5.
18?
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. It's wild. It's
Wow.
wild, that number. And then even more is when we start to go down and look at hypertension, and it
Mm.
says that black men 20 and over, 58%. And this
Mm.
study is as 2021.
Mm. Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
So, like when we say things like that and we sitting here and we talking about the doctors that you want to go see, the things that you should do, coming back full circle to this conversation about black doctors. My therapist is a black woman. My dentist was a black man.
Yeah.
Like I told you about my primary. And then my I'm forgetting the term for this doctor, but the doctor that did my endoscopy and colonoscopy, a black man as well.
Yeah.
So, I even asked for the referrals from my black doctor and my Asian doctor for black doctors. So I
Mhm.
try to do that first. Now, I will say that when I was in Chicago, to your point, Jamian, I was looking and it was very hard to get on the schedule
Yeah.
because, again, very popular and everyone's going to want to go to you once they find out about you, and it's just not
Sure.
enough of you to go
Yeah.
around. So there has to be more black doctors. It has to be more black doctors.
Yeah.
Everyone, if you're watching, encourage your kids, encourage yourself, become a black doctor. Please,
Yeah.
we need more of you. But
Yeah.
to that point, and what I was just trying to say is is like I was referred to the doctor that I had in Chicago. I also interviewed him, a white male in his 50s, and allow him to understand what I needed as a black male at that point in time in my early 40s. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? In like late 30s, early 40s. So I needed him to understand what I was looking for.
Yeah.
What did it for me? Like, coming from Atlanta, of course, I wanted to try and find black male primary physician. Couldn't. I was kept beating my head up against the wall, and I finally just had to go because I needed to get checked up on. I needed to get a colonoscopy, is what it was. And I had to go find me a primary care physician because I was like, I knew it was time. But what did it for me was that the primary care physician that I ended up eventually working with and still work with, he was like, man, here go my pager number. If you need something, just page me and I'll call you. And I said, what? And when I tell you I paged him, he called me like, you good? What's up? I said, oh, I'm done.
I like that.
For me,
Yeah.
that's a bird in the hand. That's worth a weight in gold for me.
Yeah.
You know? And so I guess
It
it just
is.
depends on what's the most valuable to you. But man, like you say, just go and figure it out.
Yeah. Just go.
So we're saying go, and we're saying figuring it out. We're saying all these things, but what really matters? Is it the preventative care, or is it, just the care in general? Like when we're talking about, care in general, that brings up that crisis mindset to me. So, have we always been more preventative care than crisis mindset? I want to hear from y'all. Like, and you're going to the doctor, has it been more preventative than crisis? If not,
Sure.
why? And just share a little bit around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Go ahead.
go ahead. If you got it, you got it.
Yeah, no, I definitely, for me, I was raised in a household where going to the doctor was a part of our routine. So it was taught to me early in life to have a relationship with doctors. I wanted to be a podiatrist, so I was going to hang out with my podiatrist because I had to get some bunions cut off my foot because I was playing soccer all the time, right? So it was like I started to learn how to develop relationships at an early age and get comfortable with that. So my whole life, I was going to the doctor like that was, hey, I'm going to get my annual checkup. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just so much
It's
a
part
part
of
of
the
my
thing,
maintenance. I think as I got later in life, understanding the mental health preventative pieces that I've neglected for so long, I'm now trying to catch up on, which is why I go see my therapist every week. You know what I mean? Because I didn't do it for 40 something years, So I think it just depends, but that's been my journey.
Yeah, I would say for me, and kind of like Jay, having been an athlete, I had to have a physical every year. So naturally, I was doing that. But then also, in addition to the physical, I also had injuries. I tore a shoulder, messed up my ankle, did different things. So I had to see
Yeah, that's
people
real.
there. And
That's
I,
real.
I didn't have a choice on who was going to do certain things. So people who opened me
Uh-huh.
up have not been black. So I
Yeah.
had those things going on. But then because there was so much trauma involved in a lot of the times that I was in there to do stuff, I think that's also part of the reason I kind of avoided having to go in. It's like, oh, that's not necessarily a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But once my career was done and I didn't have to go in and get a physical, I just wasn't doing it. At that point, it became all about crisis management. And luckily, I didn't have a lot of crises that were demanding for me to go see anybody. So I didn't need to really go in there and do it. And so interestingly, like I said, Janine coming into my life changed things where she's like, hey, you got to start doing this because I need you to be around. But the
Yeah.
mental health piece of that started out as a crisis for me. But what it became was, wow, I see what this is doing for me now, that I need to start instituting these same sort of things when it comes to other areas of my health and starting to be a little bit more proactive and preventative in that way. So I would say the mental health piece and getting right there is the thing that made me kind of revamp. And that was 5-6 years ago that piece of it started. So, yeah. So started out crisis more than anything, became preventative.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people watching, they understand the crisis part because, again, there's a lot of things that come into that. The financial piece comes into that. The doctors come into that. The hospital itself, understanding what your hospital has. or urgent care has or what have you, that also comes in to play. I think because of the conditions that I grew up in, going to the hospital on the regular for my physicals, definitely that was something that was going on. But outside of that, you know, I think the only thing that my grandmother really, really kept up on was in the beginning was my teeth. And then I lost my retainer, and that kind of went all over the place at that point in time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can say I definitely have never, ever, ever in my life had a cavity. So I've always been yeah to
Wow.
that. But it wasn't until to like y'all are saying, my partners were the one that helped me kind of turn this thing around. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at my health from a very good point, but in that situation where I was, 350 pounds, I'm coming out of a full blown relationship into just being by myself to being with my partners and how that kind of went. And we all, in some ways, started looking at that health situation. And I think,
Yeah.
to your point, Chris, when someone continues to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go try this and do this and see what happens. And then you see the results. One of my partners, she got Invisalign. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, maybe I should go get Invisalign. I saw what it did to her. Boom. Went and got it. Boom. Now,
Yeah.
what you see in these teeth from Invisalign, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
took, you do better when you know better. And
Yeah.
and you be able to get that information and bring it back and just dissect it, allow for me to make a more preventative decision
Yeah.
to say, I
Yeah.
don't more, I need to start doing things earlier.
Yeah. I think you bring up something, and this sparks another conversation. I know we're, talking about the check engine light, and now we're talking about preventative maintenance. I think this makes me want us to have another conversation just talking about health insurance and life and
Yes.
all these other all these other things that we
Yeah.
neglect to talk about because it makes us uncomfortable. And
Yep.
then when we realize we need it, it's way too late.
Way
You
too
know?
late.
Yeah.
So I think that's another conversation to have, but that's what made me think of, that's what came to mind listening to what you just said.
Man, that's a good point. Well, even as Quest was talking too and thinking about that preventative care, like when you start looking at some of the other data that's out there, we had talked about this in the pre-production. What is it like? White males live to be 74, black males live to be 68 on average.
Yeah.
Like that's
And
6 years, but 6 years is real. I'm 15
mm,
years away from 68.
mm.
I'm not trying to be that close to it if I don't have
Yeah.
to.
And what do
Yeah.
you
Trying
think?
to
And
do
what
what
do
I
you,
can do to extend this thing.
I couldn't help but think about, why do you think that is? I call those extra 6 years privilege because
Mm,
they don't have to think about
It
the things
is.
the tensions that we're thinking about, the
Listen.
anxieties and the worries and the diabetes and some, you might laugh, but I think that 6 years could be wrapped in there somewhere.
oh,
But I
there's no
feel
Right.
like,
doubt.
what can we do to make sure that we're releasing some of those stresses earlier in life so they're
Yes.
not killing us way
Right.
Yes.
prematurely, you know?
Yeah.
Listen.
And now you get into the
Listen.
spirit of what the 40/50 Social Club is all about,
I'm
Yeah,
right?
saying.
yeah,
Extending your life.
Death, leading
yeah,
causes of death for black males right now. Think
yeah,
about this: heart failure, cancer, and death from accidents. Leading three. But what we heard here, number one is heart failure.
Mm,
And that
mm,
means a plethora of different myriads of heart failures, however it is. And then
yeah,
second is cancer. And I'm gonna
mm.
say this, and we're gonna talk about it in another episode, but I'm definitely gonna say this. We are the test. You think you're not the test. You gotta rethink this. Processed foods didn't even happen until the 70s. You are the
Uh,
test. Don't think you are not. You're
uh,
out here and you're eating the foods and whatever like that. And what we're seeing is these commercials now coming up on our screen about this thing and that thing. And if you ate this, come contact us. We got a lawsuit for you, blah, blah, blah. All of that type of stuff
yeah.
because you are the test. And that means more
Wow.
than you will ever know. So I encourage you. I encourage you to go get your, to
Yeah,
go get some sort of insurance first, right? Because that
mm.
we can't even say nothing about this without saying that. Regardless if it's Obamacare or whatever, Medicaid or whatever, or getting insurance from your job, go go try to see if you can get that. And if you can get
Yeah.
that, the next step is going to get yourself that physical so you can at least know what you up against.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
from there, it's taking an opportunity to bet on yourself. Something you felt something close to your heart, go get that checked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love what you're saying. And I also don't want us to be naive to, the exclusion that comes just from an insurance policy alone. So like,
Yep.
it don't hit you until you need it, right? So like you go up in there and go get your physical, and then all of a sudden you realize your insurance don't cover the colonoscopy, or it don't cover the heart exam. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't stress enough, do the research too on what type
Yeah.
of insurance you get, because all of it is not as easily accessible as you may think it is until you get that bill, and then all of a sudden you're not getting some check because you don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's layered,
It's
It
complicated.
definitely is. It
Wow.
definitely
Yeah.
is. It definitely is. So, where does legacy live here? I know that there's so many different places that we can take this conversation out. I know we're
Yeah.
wrapping it up in a lot of ways, but legacy,
Yeah.
how do we convey that message to the people that are watching right now?
Sure.
What do you brothers want to say right now in the form of legacy? Because what we know is that longevity isn't legacy, but living is. So we want to be able to live and live well. I want you brothers, just give us a little bit around what you feel the legacy is from the standpoint of health right now for Black men, 40s and 50s.
Yeah, I'll say my real quick. I think we've talked about this a few times. And what is your definition of being rich?
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm in my 50s and early 50s and understanding the word rich means a whole lot more to me now than just monetarily. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to have holistic, rich life. I want to make sure that I'm rich in all these different areas. And in order for me to be rich, I got to be healthy. And
Yeah.
it's like, without it, who cares? Nobody really cares about how much money you have if you ain't even around to enjoy it. Like,
To
it's
enjoy
just
it.
like, like, what's the point? And it made me think about, like, I'm up here busting my butt every day trying to, like, chase this bag. But then all of a sudden, if I can't even carry the bags once I get it, who cares? And so I feel like your health is the engine for any type of rich life
Yeah.
you want to have. It's the foundation
Yeah.
to any of it. So to me,
Yeah.
you should take care of that and
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
your number one priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
Chris,
I'm
what
about to
about you?
I feel like I'm gonna fumble through this a little bit because I don't know if it's a question I've ever truly thought of. But
Mm-hmm.
when I think about that legacy, the first thing that comes to mind to me is understanding what your body and your mind are. Like it's you, sure, but it's also the vessel and the vehicle that you use to experience this gift of life. And so
Yes.
like legacy for me is learning how to see myself and my full beings, that conduit between me and everything else that is. And so the clearer I can make my
Mm-hmm.
body, the clearer I can make my mind, the clearer that connection that exists for me between me and that force that I choose to call God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all of it goes into that. It's not just seeing a primary care physician. I got an acupuncturist. I go see a massage
Yeah.
therapist. I don't have a nutritionist
Yeah.
on speed dial, but my daughter is dating one, and I'm definitely gonna be picking his brain about stuff. You know what I mean? So like you have all
Yeah.
these people who are part
Yeah.
of it, and what it is, it's like how can I clear myself in order to be my fullest self? And you can't do
Mm-hmm.
anything without your health. I know that as an athlete, but taking it up a notch outside of the physical piece of this, even outside of the physical or even outside of the mental piece of this, it's all of it wrapped up together. And I see health as being so critical to what this experience is supposed to be like for me.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
again, from a legacy standpoint, I'd say it's becoming as healthy or being as healthy as I can be within reason. Like I'm not making all the sacrifices I need. I'm still gonna cook with my butter, at least for the next several years until I can't do it no
Mm-hmm.
more. Like there are things that I know I'm not giving up, but along
Sure.
the way, I'm definitely making some of those sacrifices so I can function optimally.
That's what's up. What
You
about you,
know,
Quest? What
Yeah.
about you,
What about
man?
you?
that all of these answers are just really good because I think everyone should be able to take from all of what you guys just said and be able to just regurgitate that into their lives and let it just, flow on to all the people that they know as well because we need to hear this. We need to hear more black men
Yeah.
talking about things like this. We need to hear more black men really going to get that checkup when the check engine light comes on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Understanding what your own body's check engine light and check engine light moment is. When you basically say, I think I need to go get this checked out. You don't want
Yeah.
you don't want it to be later. You really don't want it to be.
Yeah.
To be honest, you know what I'm saying? But when
Yeah.
you get that moment where you have to have that, you want to be at a position where, to your point, Jay, you got that insurance, you can go. To your point, Chris, you're
Yeah.
past that area of insurance, and now I'm into specializing, and I need to see somebody especially for a certain thing. I recently started a more healthy way of living, I guess, if you can call it that, by making sure that I could understand that I was eating right in some ways for my blood type. And it's a
Yeah.
journey that right now that I'm on, and it causes me to understand that there are different allergens within foods. And see, now we're going to another level of it, right? Where, being able to look outside, like we said, the Western medicine and kind of looking at what people are doing on the other side to really, really get into what their body needs. I really wanted to start doing that. So I feel that the legacy part of this is taking my body, knowing that it's the test, and making sure that I am giving all this information back to my kids. I have a journal that I do, and mostly I do it a lot of times now on the weekends, but I used to do it every day. And I would start at the top of my head and I would identify everything going on with my entire body. And I would write that down so that I understand the trends and things of that nature and what was going on and where I got to a certain point, I can pinpoint it and come back. And all that is just the education of being more insightful about yourself. So if there's nothing that I can do or say here that you all have already said, is be curious about yourself.
Yeah.
Be curious
Yeah.
about yourself.
Yeah.
Don't let things linger. Please don't do it. It can be we're not supposed to hold our urine. We're supposed to go to the restroom. I know a lot of you right now, y'all, I mean, we doing it. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
doing it. There, you get that twitch or that feeling in your neck or something like that. That's not normal. You need to go get it checked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
No,
That
that's good.
and my last thought just hearing you say that too is it's just something that was coming to me, and I remember talking about this with somebody at one point, and they were talking about like putting off going to see a physician, putting off going to see whomever you need to see to make sure your health is right. And they were like, stop making a date with too late. That's all you're doing. When you're putting that off, all you're doing is making a date with too late because too late is coming. And once that comes, there's nothing you can do, but there's nothing I can do now but deal with this bum elbow. You know what I mean? Like, stop making a date with too late.
That's good. That's good. That's
Man,
good.
that's real good.
I
That's
think
real
we're going to
good.
end it on that one because
Yeah,
it's
that's
getting
real
late.
good.
But at the
It's
same
getting late.
time, it's getting late, but I want to, that's so good. We're going to end it right there. And I think the one thing that's good about this topic is we can continue to come back to it every
Yes.
quarter, every 6 months. We probably going to come back to it because it's going to be time for us to go get our checkups. And we want to check in with
Yeah.
y'all to make sure y'all doing the same thing. So
Mhm.
this
Yeah,
is
it's
going
time
to
for
be a
mine.
breathing conversation.
I'm going to get my physicals next week.
That's
There
what's
you
So
up.
go.
That's
There
what's
you
here
up.
go.
we
That's
are.
what's up. You encouraging me to schedule mine. So it's on, y'all. So thank you for another one. Go get checked up and check in. And we'll see y'all soon. 4050
Amen.
All
out.
right.
Well, there you have it. Another epic episode of 4050 Social Club, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. Subscribe on YouTube, click that button below. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all social media platforms. We are here to help Black men transition through the most impressionable years of your life, your 40s and 50s. Don't feel as though you're out here alone. We're here with you to share our stories and our journey. So let's get to it, y'all. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And until then, be well, friends. Peace.